Ladies and gentlemen, there is a moment in every woman's life when the world goes quiet, when the ground beneath her starts to shake, not with fear, but with destiny. You see, when God is about to bless a woman with something big, not small, not temporary, but something transformational, he doesn't just drop it into her lap. He prepares her. And the preparation, it's never random. There are signs, 7 of them, 7 sacred whispers from the universe that something is shifting. There comes a moment in every woman's life when the world around her begins to feel unfamiliar, even though nothing has technically changed. The places she used to feel comfortable in start to feel tight, almost suffocating. The relationships she once poured into no longer feel aligned. The dreams she used to chase with passion suddenly don't ignite the same fire. And while she may not understand why, it's not because she's lost or broken or behind. It's because something bigger is being prepared for her. Discomfort is often misunderstood. We're conditioned to avoid it, to escape it, to fix it. But discomfort in its purest form is a sign, a divine nudge that we are outgrowing an old version of ourselves. Just like a snake sheds its skin, a woman must sometimes step out of her old identity to make space for the one she's becoming. In that process, it rarely feels gentle. It feels like growing pains. Spiritual, emotional, and mental. When God is about to bless a woman with something big, he doesn't hand it to her without preparation. He stretches her. He challenges her. He invites her into a season where the familiar no longer satisfies, not because he wants her to feel empty, but because he's calling her higher. The blessing she's about to receive cannot survive in the space she currently occupies. Her mindset, her circle, her habits, and even her self-perception must shift in order to carry what's coming. So he allows discomfort to enter not as punishment, but as prophecy. It might begin subtly. She wakes up feeling more tired in spaces that once energized her. The work she used to take pride in now feels repetitive. The people she used to bend for now seem to misunderstand her. And this inner tension grows not to destroy her peace, but to push her into purpose. Because comfort rarely births greatness. It is in the tension that the transformation begins. Discomfort also brings awareness. It wakes her up. It makes her question who she is, what she wants, and what she's tolerating. It forces her to confront the truth she's been avoiding, the relationship that's no longer growing, the dream she's downsized out of fear, the calling she's been pushing aside because it feels too big. But what if that discomfort is actually an invitation? What if it's a signal that it's time to take the limits off? God doesn't waste discomfort. Every ache, every unsettled night, every moment of unease is part of a holy refinement. Just like gold is purified by fire, a woman's character is refined through friction. And it's often in those exact moments where she feels uncertain, stretched, and unsure that heaven is getting ready to release the very thing she's been praying for. But here's the challenge. Discomfort often disguises itself as confusion or failure. That's why it's important not to misinterpret it. Just because something doesn't feel good doesn't mean it isn't good for her. And just because a season feels hard doesn't mean she's not in the center of divine preparation. Sometimes being uncomfortable is proof that she's exactly where she needs to be. So if you or any woman you know is in a season where nothing seems to fit anymore, where life feels awkward, stretched, and uncertain, don't panic. Don't retreat. Lean in. Because that discomfort, it might just be the first sign that something extraordinary is on its way. And when it arrives, she'll look back at the discomfort not with resentment, but with gratitude. Because it was the tension that led her to transformation. There's a quiet season in a woman's life that no one talks about enough. It's the season where the noise dies down, the invitation's slow, the phone stops ringing like it used to. She finds herself withdrawing, not out of bitterness, but from a need she can't quite explain. Conversations that once felt vibrant now seem shallow. Crowds that used to bring excitement now feel overwhelming. It's not loneliness exactly. It's something deeper, something sacred. It's isolation, but not as a punishment, as preparation. When God is about to bless a woman with something big, he doesn't let the voices of the crowd drown out the whisper of his calling. So he starts pulling her inward, away from distraction, away from performance, away from people who are good for a season but no longer speak to where she's going. In that silence, she can hear again, not with her ears, but with her soul. Isolation has a reputation for being uncomfortable, even scary. We're conditioned to think that being alone means being unloved or forgotten. But divine isolation is different. It's not abandonment. It's alignment. It's a season where God reintroduces a woman to herself, stripped of the masks. She's not a role or a responsibility in this space. She's just who she is. And for many, that's the first time they've met her. This is the sacred work that no one claps for, the internal rewiring, the pruning, the deep questions that rise when no one else is around to drown them out. Who am I really? What do I believe in? What am I afraid of? What have I been chasing that no longer aligns with who I'm becoming? And this is the beauty of isolation. It clears the clutter. It silences the noise. It reveals the voices she didn't even know she was following. The need for approval, the addiction to validation, the fear of not being enough. In isolation, those false narratives lose their power, and in their place, truth begins to settle in. There's also clarity in this quiet. Clarity that doesn't come when we're busy performing, pleasing, or pretending. Sometimes the reason God pulls a woman into a season of isolation is because he needs to download vision into her spirit. And that kind of clarity only comes when everything else fades into the background. In this solitude, her discernment sharpens. She begins to see who's for her and who is simply around her. She starts to notice the difference between what's familiar and what's aligned. Her boundaries get stronger, her values get clearer, and little by little, she begins to rise, not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply. It's also in this space that her strength is built. Because when a woman can stand alone, anchored in who she is and who her God is, there's nothing she can't handle when the blessing arrives. She won't be shaken by public opinion. She won't be swayed by temporary applause. She'll know who she is because she met herself in the quiet. So if you find yourself in a season like this where people are drifting and silence is loud, don't rush to fill the space. Don't run back to noise for comfort. Stay in the stillness. There is sacred work happening beneath the surface. You are being prepared. You are being positioned. You are being aligned with a purpose too big to be built on noise and distraction. And when the blessing comes, and it will, you'll realize the isolation wasn't a detour. It was a divine appointment, a meeting place between you and destiny. There's a kind of loss that feels confusing, not because something bad happened, but because something familiar slipped away. A relationship you thought would last forever slowly fades. A job you once prayed for suddenly comes to an end. People you trusted begin to distance themselves. Opportunities you were sure were meant for you disappear without warning. And you're left wondering, what just happened? But what if that loss isn't a sign of rejection, but a sign of redirection? When God is about to bless a woman with something big, he first makes space for it, not because he's trying to take things away from her, but because he knows the weight of the blessing cannot rest on shaky ground. He knows that if she keeps holding on to what no longer serves her, she won't have the capacity emotionally, mentally, spiritually to carry what he's about to give her. It's hard to let go, especially when what you're losing is something you worked for, something you prayed for, something that felt right in a previous season. But growth requires release. A tree cannot bear new fruit while clinging to dead branches. And sometimes those branches look like people, places, plans, or patterns we thought would stay with us forever. There's pain in the process, yes. Loss always carries grief, even if you know deep down it was meant to end. There's still that aching space it leaves behind. But in God's economy, loss is never without purpose. He doesn't subtract to leave you empty. He subtracts to create capacity. That void, It's not a mistake, it's preparation. Think about it. How often have you looked back at something you cried over losing, only to later thank God it didn't work out? The relationship you once begged to fix was actually draining you. The job that ended unexpectedly made room for a dream you didn't even know you had. The friendship that faded, it was a chapter, not the whole story. God sees the full picture when we can only see a snapshot. He knows what's coming. And sometimes, in His mercy, He removes what we would never let go of ourselves. And in the moment, it might feel like your world is crumbling, but really, it's being cleared, rebuilt, reorganized in alignment with your purpose. This kind of loss demands trust. Trust that even in the letting go, you're not falling apart, you're falling into place. Trust that what looks like a setback might actually be the setup, and trust that God never takes without the intention to give greater. But here's the key. You have to release what's gone in order to receive what's coming. You can't receive new wine if your hands are still full of old jars. That doesn't mean you forget the past or dismiss your pain. It means you make peace with it. You honor what was, you acknowledge the role it played, and then you let it go so you can move forward freely. If you're in a season of loss, know this. You're not being punished. You're being positioned. It's okay to mourn what's no longer with you. That's human. But don't stop there. Look deeper. Ask yourself, what is this making room for? Because if something fell away, it's because something greater is on the horizon. God does not deal in empty spaces. If something has been removed, trust. He's getting ready to fill that space with something bigger, better, and far more aligned with who you're becoming. Let the loss teach you. Let it shape you. And most importantly, let it prepare you. Because what's coming will make you understand exactly why it had to leave. There are moments in life when things seem to fall into place, not because you've worked harder or planned better, but simply because the universe, or rather God, has opened a door that you weren't even expecting. You'll find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people and encountering opportunities that feel almost too perfect to be real. It's as if the world is conspiring in your favor, and though you may not fully understand it, you know deep down that this is no accident. These moments of unusual favor are not coincidences. They are divine winks. They are God's way of confirming that you are on the right path, that something bigger is unfolding, and that He is orchestrating things on your behalf, even when you can't see it yet. When God is preparing to bless a woman with something significant, He doesn't always do it in a grand, obvious way. Sometimes He shows up in small, almost imperceptible acts of favor that, when put together, reveal His hand at work. It's that unexpected phone call from someone who believes in your vision. It's the job opportunity that comes out of nowhere just when you were beginning to lose hope. It's the random act of kindness from a stranger that sparks a chain reaction of blessings. These moments may seem small, but they're not insignificant. They are divine signals that something greater is on the way. Unusual favor comes when you least expect it, and it often comes in ways that challenge your understanding of how things are supposed to work. You might get a raise when the economy is struggling, or you might be recommended for a project by someone who doesn't even know you very well, but sees something in you they can't ignore. It's the moment when the doors you've been knocking on for years finally open, but not because you've been knocking harder than anyone else. It's because God has decided it's your time. What's powerful about this favor is that it's not just about receiving something material or external. It's about God confirming that you are seen, you are known, and you are loved. He knows the desires of your heart, even the ones you've been too afraid to voice aloud. And sometimes the unusual favor is His way of reassuring you that He hasn't forgotten about you, even when you felt overlooked. It's His way of showing you that you are positioned for something great and that He is aligning the universe to support you in ways that are beyond your control. This kind of favor doesn't come because you've been perfect or because you've earned it through sheer effort. It's a reminder that blessings aren't always about merit, they are about grace. It's not that you don't deserve the favor, it's that God's favor doesn't follow the rules of human logic. When you've been faithful in the small things, when you've trusted when it felt impossible, when you've loved even when it wasn't returned, God sees that, and at the right moment, He shows up in ways that feel almost miraculous. And these moments of favor can be transformative. They can change your perspective on what's possible. They can give you the courage to keep going, to continue pushing even when it feels like the journey is too long or too difficult. You start to realize that God is not just watching from afar, He is actively involved in every step of your journey. These moments remind you that you are not alone, that you have been equipped for what's ahead, and that the things you've been dreaming of are not out of reach. They are within your grasp. So when unusual favor shows up in your life, don't dismiss it. Don't downplay it. Don't assume it's just luck or a coincidence. Acknowledge it as a divine sign. Acknowledge it as God's confirmation that He is with you, that He is guiding you, and that He has already gone before you to make the crooked paths straight. This favor is not a random event. It is part of a greater plan, a plan that is unfolding exactly as it should, and you in your own unique way are a part of it. The favor you experience today may very well be the preparation for the blessing that is on its way. Embrace it, celebrate it, and trust that in the grand scheme of things, this is just the beginning of what God is about to do in your life. There are seasons in life when everything seems to get harder just when you think you're on the verge of a breakthrough. The obstacles appear bigger. The challenge is more intense. The road you're walking on, which once felt smooth, now seems riddled with rocks and potholes. At first, you might be tempted to think that you've taken a wrong turn, that you're lost, or that maybe you're just not cut out for the journey ahead. But what if this resistance isn't a sign of failure? What if it's actually a sign of preparation? When God is about to bless a woman with something big, He doesn't always make the path easier. In fact, it's often the opposite. Resistance shows up precisely when you are closest to your breakthrough. It's the tension between where you are and where you're going. It's the storm that churns right before the calm. It's the friction that makes you stronger, more resilient, and more capable of carrying the blessings that are meant for you. Resistance has a funny way of shaking things up. When you're on the verge of something monumental, old fears, insecurities, and limiting beliefs begin to resurface. They'll show up as doubts about your abilities, second-guessing your decisions, or fears about what others think. It's almost as if the universe, or even your own mind, is throwing everything it can at you to see if you'll break. And for a moment, you might feel broken, like the pressure is too much to bear, but it's precisely in those moments that something beautiful is happening on the inside. You see, resistance isn't always meant to defeat you. It's meant to refine you. Think of a blacksmith forging a sword. The metal is heated and hammered, bent and shaped over and over again until it becomes something sharp and strong. It's not a gentle process, but it's the only way to create something of value. The resistance you're facing is doing the same thing. It's shaping you into someone who can handle the blessing that is about to come into your life. It's testing your endurance, your resolve, your faith, and your ability to trust in the process even when it feels impossible. This resistance might come in the form of unexpected setbacks. Maybe the deal you've been working on for months falls through. Perhaps someone you trusted disappoints you, or an opportunity slips away right when you thought it was yours. It might even come in the form of self-doubt. Those inner voices telling you that you're not good enough, that you're not ready, that you don't deserve the success you're reaching for. The key is recognizing that this resistance is temporary and it is not a reflection of your worth or your ability to succeed. Instead, it's part of the divine process of preparation. The more resistance you face, the closer you are to your breakthrough. The stronger you feel the pressure, the more it means you're being equipped to handle what's coming. It's like the muscles in your body, only by lifting heavier weights do they grow stronger. Similarly, by enduring these moments of resistance, you are growing stronger spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. You're building the resilience and the capacity to handle the magnitude of the blessing that's ahead. In these moments, it's crucial not to give up. The enemy wants you to quit when you're at your weakest, to convince you that it's easier to walk away than to push through. But remember, breakthroughs often come at the moment of greatest resistance. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is often just the willingness to keep going, even when things seem toughest. Keep your eyes on the prize. Trust that this resistance is not the end, but a sign that you are growing, you are evolving, and you are being prepared for something extraordinary. So when resistance shows up, instead of shrinking back or doubting your purpose, lean into it. Embrace the challenge as a confirmation that you are exactly where you need to be. The weight you're carrying now is not too much to bear. It's just making you stronger for the greatness that is about to unfold. Keep going. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. You said, when God is about to bless a woman with something big, there's often a shift that happens within her long before she sees any external signs. She will experience a peace that doesn't make sense. Her heart will feel calm even when her situation is anything but peaceful. The chaos around her might continue, the waiting might grow longer, and the circumstances may seem far from ideal, but inside she knows that something is on the horizon. It's a divine peace that settles in her spirit, a knowing that transcends logic, reason, or the noise of the world. This peace is a sign that God is already at work, preparing her for what's next. This peace is different from the fleeting calm that comes from controlling a situation or finding temporary solutions. It's not the peace that comes from knowing everything will go according to your plans. Rather, it's a peace that comes when you surrender your plans and trust in God's timing. It's a quiet confidence that the promises He's made to you will come to pass, even if you don't yet have all the answers. It's a peace that holds steady even in the face of uncertainty. When God is about to release something significant into your life, there's often a period where you've done all that you can do, and the next step is out of your hands. It's during these times when you're waiting and trusting that God fills you with peace. It's the kind of peace that helps you let go of the need to control every outcome, to rush the process, or to overthink what's coming. Instead, you start to realize that the outcome is already secured. The promise is already on its way, and even if you can't see it yet, the peace you feel within assures you that it's already been set in motion. Sometimes this peace feels like a soft whisper in your spirit. It's not loud or dramatic. It's the quiet reassurance that no matter what happens, you are exactly where you need to be. And the longer you sit with this peace, the more it becomes evident that it's not about the absence of problems. It's about knowing that God is in control, even when things don't look the way you expect them to. This peace invites you to trust, to rest, and to wait with a sense of calm that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. The peace that precedes the promise is also a peace that carries you through the waiting. The waiting is often the hardest part. It's when your faith is tested, when you wonder if you've been forgotten or if what you're hoping for will ever materialize. But this peace doesn't allow you to give up or lose heart. It reminds you that God's timing is perfect, and while the promise may be delayed, it is never denied. Peace becomes your anchor during the storm of waiting. It steadies your heart when doubt tries to creep in, and it strengthens your resolve when you're tempted to abandon the journey. So if you find yourself in a season of waiting, filled with uncertainty and perhaps even fear, don't overlook the peace that is starting to settle in your soul. It might be the very sign that you're closer to your breakthrough than you realize. That peace is a confirmation from God that He's got everything under control and that your promises are on their way. It's not a peace born out of understanding how things will unfold. It's a peace that comes from trusting that God has already made the way. When peace precedes the promise, you can rest assured that God is preparing you and everything is moving toward the fulfillment of His plan for your life.